Homelessness vlog, day 26. Greetings, seekers. I am Shaggy Philalitea. Today is Saturday. It's like a little bit after 11, I think. Yeah, it's 11:30. I've just spent the last hour in the mall recording Hearthstone Let's Plays for the sister channel. Talking to the future. I don't have much to say today. I spent the night last night. I guess this is Homelessness vlog night 25, but the night went well. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I went home and I snacked on my loaf of delicious brown pumpernickel bread until my belly was full, and I drank water until it was about 12:30. I played a bunch of Hearthstone. I didn't record any of it because I didn't want to be talking. I don't really want to be talking at my tent like at all, but I don't really want to be talking before midnight, 11-ish, because the strip mall there doesn't close until 10, and I don't want to make a bunch of noise. I'm trying not to draw attention to myself. It will be 3 Sundays tomorrow, and Sunday is my problem day. Sunday is the day that the cops in this town are agitated and want to throw their weight around. And so Sunday is the day that I'm really trying to make it through, and I'm just trying not to draw attention to myself, and I'm trying not to have somebody go down there and destroy my stuff, because teenagers are evil and they'll do shit like that. They'll see somebody's tent and they'll just destroy it, because why not? And so that's why I'm on the north side. If I haven't made this clear yet through 26 of these, I don't think I've actually done 26 of these videos. I think it came to me late, but 26 of these days now, 25 nights. I don't remember what I was saying. I've just been trying not to draw attention to myself. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is I was saying that I chose the north side because it's affluent, and so I'm about as low rent a human being as lives up here, and I think that so long as I am the only low rent human being that lives up here, for the most part, the olds and the Richie Riches and the chasing after the Joneses people don't seem to mind too much. The security guards at the mall are cool. I'm obviously not bothering anyone. And if you listen to last Sunday's story, I'm sitting in a spot where families, really, children really are hanging out, and I really don't need to be there. I really shouldn't be there, because I am an adult male, 37, no children, no wife, no family, no money, no home. I have a home. You really don't want to be around kids areas as that kind of person, right? It's just a bad look. I love kids. I'm great with kids. But those skill sets come from, well, I've talked about this a lot. They come from growing up around kids. There were always younger children around me when I was little, all the way up until I graduated high school, and then I became this, right? Had a wife for a while, and you're allowed to be around kids when you've got a wife. You know, people don't think you're trying to diddle anyone when you've got a wife. They trust, and that's probably why I've decided to go fully religious in my aspect, is because people are more willing on average. Now your evil atheist is going to insist that every person with any kind of religious personality or religious inclination is a pervert, and that's just whatever. You know, you've always got that. But what I'm thinking about as far as homelessness goes is I still haven't generated any income, but I have generated 83 cents in ad revenue for my buddy Madge this month. So yeah, I showed up for 83 cents worth of ads. And you know how good that feels? I actually feel awesome about that. That means that my hour a day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month is paying off for my guy. You understand? And that means something to me. That means that my effort and my time aren't just emotional support. 83 cents is 83 cents. You save that up for 12 months and sure, you've got 12 bucks, less than 12 bucks. But you know what you can do with that less than 12 bucks? Sit on it for another 12 months. And sit on it, and sit on it, and sit on it, and sit on it, and sit on it. And eventually it'll become more than 12 bucks. And you know, that's one of the interesting things that video games actually can teach you, and why I use video games. I think that's why I'm playing so much of the, well, other than that, I own them and I love them. I adore them dearly. The old school Final Fantasy games. But the old school Final Fantasy games really taught me about that. About taking small yields and turning them into large yields over time through repetition. And that's why I play all these grindy games. That's why when, like now, what I would like to do now is just sit down and play Final Fantasy 3 and explain to you why I love the grind. Why I love it. Now it gets tedious because these games visually aren't as stimulating as what I would like. But nobody seems to be willing to make a grindy, turn-based RPG that requires a lot of resource management. So I like spell slots better than MP, and I've talked about that a little bit. And the reason I like spell slots better than MP is MP is just a number, and spell slots, so MP is just a number, and you can cast fire, you can cast your highest level spell until you're out, and then you can add more money, add more MP to that pool, and then cast your highest level spell as much as you want. But with spell slots or mana crystals, I really like Hearthstone. I like card games too, Magic, and I played a shitload of Pokemon as a kid. The trading card game, I actually played the trading card game more than the actual handheld games. I like that because of resource management. You need to manage your resources. Like homelessness, right? So talking about homelessness, my problem is resource management, right? How many resources do I have and how do I stretch them as long as possible? So what I could have done is not sat and ate last night on that bread until my stomach was full and I was tired from being full, right? I could have not done that, and I would have that whole loaf of bread today, and then I would have that rye, the whole loaf of rye for tomorrow. But as I was laying there thinking about it, it's easier to go one night knowing that you're going to wake up and get to eat your fill the next day than it is to try to go 2 days hungry, even though you have solid food in there. And I chose to prefer to go to bed full last night, and I'll go to bed full again tonight, because when I get back to my tent, I've got a loaf and a half of bread waiting for me. I'll eat until I'm done eating. And frankly, the thing about the human body is if you do it slow enough, you can just get bored with eating, and then your body doesn't want it anymore. And so that's one of the ways that I stretch out hunger, and I learned that from resource management. You learn that from being poor for a long time, and so you do what I do, and you stretch out your nutrients so you don't starve, because I've been actively malnourished for 3 years, and then poverty just malnourishes you. And so what I see when I look out into the world as a homeless person, and I engage with other people in severe poverty, and so I stood in line at it was called a community distribution at a church downtown, at a rich church downtown, and I looked, and I stood in line until it was no longer viable for me to stand in line, either from the time management of needing to get back to the library to work, but also I wasn't going to stand. I wasn't going to get the register. I wasn't going to give them my name, my phone number. I wasn't going to give them any kind of proof that I'm homeless and have no income. I wasn't going to demean myself for that. And let's talk about that, actually. Why does a church require you to demean yourself in the same way that a corporate style nonprofit would? And the answer is because of resource management. The people, every single human being that I saw there standing in line, had the resources necessary to have did hair, clean hair, expensive branded clothes that were clean and not wrinkled and not lived in, but they couldn't manage to have cleaning supplies for their toilets and toilet paper and these basic hygiene needs. So what that means is that they're managing their resources badly. I've told this story, but there was a guy who was $2,500 over his budget just in subscriptions to entertainment bullshit, and most of them and all of them were multiples, is what I'm trying to say. This is resource management, and the reason that the medieval world, the reason that the pre-modern world decided that most people needed to be not responsible for themselves is because they can't actually manage their resources. It's not that you're not intelligent enough. You're just as intelligent as I am. You're just as human as I am. It's that you're really stupid. It's that you're really stupid and you refuse to pay attention. You were taught math. If you graduated high school, you had to take 13 years of math. So if you can't do the basic math to know what you're in and what you're out are, and whether you're making more than what you're spending, if you can't do that basic math, you don't need to be a citizen. You don't need to be free. You understand? And this is why the liberals just want everyone to be not free. Is the liberals believe that only the people who are already rich have any righteousness, because their religion says that you are the quality of what you have. This is why everybody in those churches is wearing expensive clothes but can't wipe their ass. They don't have toilet paper. Do you understand that toilet paper is more important than Nikes? If you have to get $20 Walmart shoes, or you actually have to wear the shoes that your employer provides for you, you're not living any worse than anyone else in history. Do you understand that? Do you understand how rich I am compared to the rest of the world? I make $33 a month. That's more than $1 a day. Do you understand that even that is more than most Africans make? People in Africa. Do you understand how rich the American poor are in the context of history? You are loaded if you're able to make a home. In the context of history, you are rich. We're talking, you're almost Mansa Musa rich compared to historical and non-American poor. Do you understand that? Have you ever thought about that? I would die in any other country. This is why Christians need you to prove that you are actually in need, because the resources that those churches can provide through donations and buying extra supplies, because they know how much they go through a month with their tithe money, which is donated. It's not required. Corporations charge what they charge for their bathrooms. It's hidden. The cost is hidden. You don't understand that so much of why McDonald's fries cost what they cost is because motherfuckers are disgusting in the bathrooms. Do you understand that? So much of why people demand to be paid. Well, I have walked the fuck out of a job that was paying me $12.50 an hour, enough that I was living comfortable and able to chip away at my credit card debt, because they wouldn't stop making me be the only one who cleaned up after that fucking Mexican who decided that for whatever reason, where he was gonna shit every day was on the drainage fucking thing on the floor. That's how poor people outside the United States are. They think that drains for catching the overflow of the toilet is where the shit goes. And so I wasn't going to humiliate myself to that church to prove that I actually am homeless. Why? Because they didn't have anything to give me. They didn't have anything for me. I don't need cleaning supplies. I need socks. And do you know how hard it actually is to find socks? Nobody. Do you know how many people? Nobody has boxes out in their church or in their public place for socks. You get coats, you get jackets, scarves, winter gear, sure. Never socks. Never. I'm telling you right now, socks are what I need. Socks are what every homeless person needs. If you've ever worn, just do this. Do this. Wear the same pair of socks 7 days in a row. Now do it 21 days in a row. Now do it 28 days in a row. It's fucking miserable. Moreover, take them off your feet and then stick them outside for the night. Do that. And then put them back on your feet in the morning before the sun has come out. Put wet, frozen socks on your feet every day. It's fucking horrible. It's miserable. They warm up fast, fine. But, I mean, I can feel the of my foot sweat. And, you know, the worst part of it it's not even the discomfort of my feet. It's touching them. It's turning them inside out. It's turning them back right side in. It's getting them off. It's putting them back on. The stink is real. And I'm not a stinky person because I don't do like you do, and I don't eat food that makes me stink. And I'm bragging. I don't smell. You would not know, if you got close to me, you would not know that I have lived in these clothes this long. I bathe regularly, I wear deodorant, and I do not sweat. I am very careful not to sweat. And when I do sweat, I'm careful to take breaks so that the sweat dries in a way that it evaporates and doesn't leave stink. That's what I'm thinking about in homelessness. You know, I keep thinking about how God, and I keep telling you that the God, whether he's the Jewish God, the Christian God, whether he's El, whether he's Yahweh, whether he's Satan, no matter who he is, no matter what aspect of God is speaking to whatever prophet he's speaking, he only cares about one thing, that we care for the widow and the poor. That's the only thing he cares about. And so that's homelessness to me. That's what my homelessness is about. You know, if I had things that I lacked, the only thing I can think of that I lack is macrame supplies, because I'm sweet on a girl and I know her favorite colors and I'd like to make her something, but I don't have the stuff to make her a gift. I don't have the money to make her a gift, and that's going to drive me crazy thinking about it. How can I get either the money or something? Where am I going to find something to give her a gift? This isn't the place, because this is just homelessness, but this is something I've been thinking about a lot. Not just because I want to give her a gift, and not just because I want to give her, it's a courtship gift is really what it is. But we need to stop talking about dating. We need to get back to, we don't need to use the word court and courtship, because those go back to medieval infidelity. And really, you're courting a married woman. But dating is wrong. Dating is evil. But you know that the gift, you know that there are two circumstances historically that women get gifts from men in, right? Men give women courtship gifts. They give them like the pebble and the penguin. Men give women gifts to tell them, I find you attractive and would like to remain in your presence, and I would like you to consider letting me have access to your pelvis. That's the first reason that men give women their gifts. It's a sort of saying, what's that song? You're so high above me, right? You're so lovely. Here's a gift. I like you. Here's a gift. And that's all it is. There's no reciprocation expected. They just want to admire her with a gift. Tell her, I'm a male. I admire you. Here's a gift. The other reason you give a woman a gift is because you already done fucked her and you owe her money. Prostitution gifts are very real. Very real. You're expected to pay and give her gifts. Courtship gifts. Expensive, branded courtship gifts. So that she won't see somebody more willing to spend more money than you, or even become somebody's concubine or get married. The only reason that women receive gifts from men is because we want access to, or we want to secure further access to, their pelvises. If you're spending money on a girl and A, you don't have access to her pelvis, and B, she doesn't treat you right, stop. It's your money. You're the earner. Stop. And ladies, if you're earning and the men that you're with aren't giving you gifts, they're trying to take you out on dates and spend money where people can see them spending money on you. And worse, if they're not going out into public with you, they're not taking you out in public, and they're not letting people see them hold your hand and dote on you, you're a whore to them. You're just a whore to them. And if they're not giving you whore gifts, end it. End it. It doesn't matter how good the dick is. It doesn't matter how much you like him. He doesn't like you. Move on. Move on. Move on. It's that easy. You know how I know it's that easy? Look at me. How did I get here? A woman cheated on me, ended the relationship with me, and evicted me. That's how I got here. I got here from a series of failed relationships, failed courtships, a failed marriage, a failed engagement. Her, the most recent, but there were maybe 6 or 8 or a dozen between, and just COVID. Don't let people mistreat you. Not because they're lonely, and certainly not because you're lonely. There's always someone who actually wants to know your favorite color, or someone that if you girls tell them a thing about you that they didn't ask and they don't need to know, there's always a boy who will pay attention and who will notice the clue. You just gotta settle. Don't even settle. You just, I don't know, I was looking at these nuns today. I was watching these nuns, and I just don't think you understand anything. I don't think you understand anything. There's a line in, it's either Ezekiel or Joshua. It might have been Joshua. I know it was Judges. There's a line in Judges where the author explains that God commanded, as the Jews went around and, as we say in our modern language, genocided, but really exterminated these evil religions. The only people who were exempt from extermination, and this is from God's very mouth, the only human beings who were exempted from extermination were the females who were still virgins. Think about why that might be. Think about why that might be. And then think about what I've been talking about all day. And this is my closing message for you as a homeless person. Spite. I did a whole video on vindication that I've been linking to, and you should go back and watch it. Spite you. Got mine. Spite. Cutting your nose off to spite your face. Do you know where that story comes from? I tell it in Vindication. I'm pretty sure it's in Vindication that I tell it, but I'll tell it to you. I'll tell it to you. Come here. Come here. Let's get close. Look at my beard. Look at my beard. That story's horrible, by the way. So graphic content warning. But the spite your nose, cut off your nose to spite your face, that comes from the Middle Ages. It comes from before the Middle Ages. It comes from the medieval European Dark Age. It comes from the Viking Age. And oh no, it involves Vikings Why would Vikings cut their noses off? They wouldn't. They raided a monastery, and the nuns inside knew that their lives were all but forfeit, especially their lives as nuns, as virgins, as protected by God from exactly what's coming for them on the other side of that door when those Vikings get through it. So one of them had the great idea, what if we cut off our noses? Then they won't do what they're about to do to us. And so they did. They cut off their noses. And you know what the Vikings did? What they were going to do anyway. And then they just burned the nunnery down. None of those women got to survive. That's what it means to cut your nose off to spite your face. It means to do something horrible to yourself, to make yourself so ugly that something worse won't happen. But I'm going to tell you, that ugly thing, it's coming. Now you're just doubly disfigured. Stop spiting. Stop it. Stop it. Spite was my last woman. That was her entire personality was wrapped up in spite. Damaging herself to make sure that the people around her were damaged. Stop. Stop it. Spite, you got mine. And now if you put an apostrophe before that, I'm saying, despite you, I've still got mine. Have a good day, all right? Remember, keep your eyes open, hands up, palms out, head on a swivel. Do better. You can do better. And I don't mean toward me, by the way. You can do a lot better toward me. You can watch these all the way through, for instance. You could like, subscribe, comment, and share, for instance. But we've already talked about how the word of mouth thing only works insofar as it works, and God doesn't think that the word of mouth thing works for spreading the message of God. But you can do better. You can treat the people around you better. You can spend less of your money on dumb bullshit. You can manage your resources better. And you can be more liberal. You can be more generous. Take care of yourself, but not to spite your face.